Myself, Mr. David Siteman Garland, and Mr. Matthew Petrov here, coming on live. How are you, Matt? And welcome back. You just got back. You were in Tennessee a couple extra days. Is that what you did?
Yeah, me and Luke stayed Sunday and Monday night and came home today from Nashville. So it was pretty
Nice. Everybody's alive?
fun. That I know of, everybody's alive. Yes.
Okay, good. That's a positive. Let me share this here. Let me share this with the boys. It was like a big week because we're between a tournament and a bat release. I mean, come on. There's a lot going on here, to say the least.
A lot going on.
There is a lot going on. Let me see here. Let me share. Send in Messenger. Send to the boys here. Let's see. There we go. Make sure to share it on yours too here, so people can know what's going on here. We'll let the folks come in. By the way, Matt, we'll talk about the field and everything there. How was the field in Tennessee?
I don't really have a lot to complain about the fields, being it was a switch. The infields were kind of shortcut, which makes it hard to play behind the lip sometimes. I mean, it was on dirt, right? So there was some ground balls missed that I don't think you see missed on a turf field. But right. I don't know if it was because it was this dirt field or just dirt in general. I mean, I think the fields were perfectly fine. The ball flew. The ball flew, which I don't know if that's good or bad, kind of whatever. Right. But I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about the fields.
Right.
I don't think I have anything great to say about the fields, but I don't think I have anything bad to say about the fields. Does that make sense?
So it wasn't like you walked into some kind of giant disaster, right?
No.
That's the only thing you want to avoid, the giant disaster, right? So, all right, let me take a sip of this. Take a sip of the early bird because I need some caffeine, man. I'm flying. It's been anyone can attest to this. Matt, you were in Tennessee for the tournament. Big deal. But everybody knows with little kids and 4-day weekends, getting out of it and surviving is also a whole other thing. Do you know what I mean? Survival method here on Tuesday. So this is Siteman Softball episode number 85. 85. And we've got a trifecta of very important things to talk about here today in the softball world, not in life, in softball. Right. Very important in softball. Yeah. We're going to talk about Nashville, a.k.a. Cooksville. We got Chicago preview because the Windy City Major bracket came out this morning, which I correctly calculated last night, which was good. So kind of knew what was going on. We sit in our game time. And we also have Siteman Bat pre-orders this Friday. We'll talk more about that on the show as well. Reminders at Siteman Softball on Instagram, SitemanSoftball.com/podcast, and Siteman Softball Nation. Big thank you to the sponsor of this episode, and also a great organization that's going to be getting a lot of the proceeds from the Siteman Pure Bat, which is the Siteman Cancer Center. All right, so everyone's coming in here, taking their seats, so we're walking around here. Actually, this is an interesting question, Matt, to start off. Yeah, and then we'll get into Tennessee. Are the Pures still passing, and how much do you hit them in BP? So our team Pures.
So our team Pures, we passed all of our bats, and there was the tester was a little high this weekend. I'm just going to say what it was because I looked at everybody else's bucket like they were sitting there, and very few teams had any fails, which
really
means the tester's high, if you want to say, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, we didn't fail any last time we played, and we didn't fail any this week when we played either. So
yeah, I mean, we
failed holding compression, and everybody hits their pure.
Hit them all the time. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like it's not. I feel like in the past with certain things, it's been like, well, you don't touch them. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't touch them. You just bring them out there, and that's it. Then you put it away. I mean, we're hitting them at BP. I mean, it's amazing how many swings we're getting. I mean, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, or that I'm not thinking of, but we had one Pure that didn't pass the entire year. There might have been one more, but it wasn't one of our regular ones. It was like another edition that Larson had at one point.
Yeah, that was.
Do you know what I mean?
Only
like
one in Florida. Only one in Florida.
One in Florida, and like that was like a different one. I don't think it was like one of the new ones. I have no idea what it was. Did we pass? Do we fail another one, or was that about it? Maybe there would have one more, but we're talking about
an old one piece in there that had a bunch of swings on it.
Very old one piece. That's right. And so you're talking about 15 plus guys hitting the bats all the time, and then a duel in Florida, a duel in Texas, and then Tennessee. Conan's saying right here, one of our players, I've swung the same bat I've had since last June. BP it all the time too. I mean, that's it actually. And by the way, I wouldn't be upset if they were less durable. It wouldn't be like we've got plenty on them. Do you know what I mean? Like meaning like I wouldn't have been like, oh my god, can you believe that? They've been phenomenal. Way more exceeding expectations than that. I think that I wasn't really sure on that, but that was very interesting to know.
Before a tournament, I always ask the guys, "Hey, you think your guys' bat's gonna pass?" Kind of thing like that. Just make sure, in case so we don't have any bat problems.
Right.
Jagger goes, I hit my bat all the time. It's going to pass. You don't even worry about it. So,
right.
Of course, Jagger's winning the bucket, and then he hit a bunch of home runs, and everybody else used it and hit a bunch of home runs, and it was great. So, I mean, Drew's NDM 1 that I gave him, he put some BP swings on it. It's fire hot. He gets in the bucket every week. So, I mean, all the Pures, I mean, like you said, are over excelling. Is that a good word? Is that
no? They're overperforming and they're over holding up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, like here's what we do just a little behind the scenes is so we'll have batting practice the day before the tournament, and then we have a gamer pile, right? You take your bat, you take your gamer, and you put it in the gamer pile, right? And then we have the backup pile. You put your gamer there. And then you put your backup in the backup pile, right? So then we know we try to obviously pass everybody's gamer first. That's the goal. One time we lost some under the seats, and it was kind of funny. We had like Jose and Drew running in with them. Like, these are actually still gamers. All worked out fine. We haven't had any snafus this year, Matt. Last year, a couple little things. But we get the bats tested, and then we add in the extra ones, and we have not been failing anything, which is kind of amazing. We'll see how that goes. But good question for sure. All right, let's get in and talk about Cooksville, a.k.a. Nashville. So, we're going to get into the tournament, Siteman Pure in the tournament, how we did, and we'll deep dive into that. But first I want to ask Matt, as a tournament as a whole, I'm talking about location. Obviously, it was moved last minute, but location, how it was ran, all that kind of stuff. How was that?
It was ran on time. The location was great because it was 5 minutes from the majority of the hotels and all the food and everything. Plenty of parking. There was even a couple BP spots right by the field. Like we BP'd 10 feet from our field.
Oh, that's a good thing. Yeah,
great. The only thing I can say is I'm not a huge fan of when the stadium or the show field is at a different location because it kills the atmosphere. Like the big games there, because there was the crowds there watching the losers bracket, just hanging out. But then if you wanted, you would leave to go to the stadium, watch Rismondo play whoever, and then you wouldn't come back. So I'm more of other than that, I think it was great. The food was good. There was no problem whatsoever. I'm just more of a fan when it's all at one place or like a place where you don't have to drive to, just so you can, the stadium and then the complex at Vieira kind of thing that. When you have to get in your car and drive, you don't tend to make it back, which kills the overall vibe and number of people at there watching.
Yeah, this weekend it'll be very different in Chicago, right? Like Chicago, it's going to be all in one complex. They don't even need the extra complex this year because there's less teams, which actually is great because the extra complex sucks. We'll
probably hit BP there, right? What do you think?
Right. Don't tell anyone that. And the atmosphere is going to be great. I get exactly what you're saying with that. By the way, Farhad happens to say, good to see that you're alive. I was talking to you, by the way, on the phone, and all of a sudden you just started screaming Farhad, who was across the street.
We were on the phone at the top level of Jason Aldean's bar in Nashville, and I see the Comp Edge guys wandering down the street looking like, I can tell, I don't know what was said, but they all gained the same hand gesture, like, I don't care where we go, where we're going. So I yell from the top level, Farhad, and he looks around, doesn't see me because he didn't look up. Obviously, why would you?
I mean, but I'm telling you, you're on the phone with me. We're talking about something like something strategic, and all of a sudden you're like, hang on.
So I turned it up a notch and I yelled louder, which, my voice carries. I work around loud machinery and stuff like that. He heard me and I kind of showed him my Pure hat, like, hey, we're up here if you want to come hang out. So then they came up and we actually had a table right in the middle of pretty much a country concert at 4:00 in Nashville, which was awesome, by the way. One of the better times I've had out was from 1:00 to 5:00 at Jason Aldean's in Nashville.
Dude, I'm so tired just thinking about this. We were at a wedding and I got home at 10 p.m. and I felt like it was in the middle of the night. So I get it, a little bit different animal. But the funniest thing you said on that, we'll get back on track here. The funniest thing is I was like, are you yelling at Farhad? And then you're like, Yeah, anytime you see Farhad, you got to yell.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Anyway, back to the subject at hand, which we're going to do
And
right
then
now.
let me just tell you one more thing about that story. So Tyler's flight was at 7 p.m. on Sunday night, and he's never been to Nashville.
Okay,
so,
Cookland. Yeah,
Cookland, right? Who's a wild person.
He's
right.
a wild person. He's a young wild man.
So we took Tyler to Nashville, and he was just insane. And every single
he did make it to us. Did he make it back?
Okay, so me and Luke's goal was to find enough hot women for him to try to convince him to change his flight and go out in the morning. And I thought we did a very, very good job as we put the pictures in the group chat. I don't know why he didn't change his flight. I mean, he made an adult decision, and I applauded him for it, for going back to work, going back and getting and working, because we threw a lot of blondes at him, a lot of blondes.
And now back to the tournament. We can talk about that. This is preface this to everyone. This is post tournament.
Oh yeah, this is on Sunday.
This was not in the midst of the tournament. Otherwise, we'd have way bigger issues than we are. Larson checking in, says hi. See you in a couple days. So this is you got the tournament and you got the post tournament shenanigans, right, Matt? That's what you got, and they are separate down the line.
100%.
When they happen. I mean, seriously, I'm saying that in jest, but like that is the way we do things. You know what I mean? Like you want to go out, go crazy, have fun, great. But it's after. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so, I'm glad Tyler Blondes made flights. Great. That's all good news. Now let's get to the less fun part of the tournament, which was the tournament. So 1-2 finish. We'll take it as a whole. We'll go game by game, obviously. We'll talk a little game by game. But overall, a bit frustrating. What's your take on the overall about that a little bit as we kind of looking ahead as well? But then we'll kind of break it down a little bit.
The 1-2 you're never happy with, right? Okay.
No.
So previous years, all teams, hey, we got to go 500 conference wins, right? But that is when there was always been 10 to 12 non-conference teams in tournaments, right? That's been a gist for 10 years.
This was 31 teams, 29 conference teams.
Right. When you get a couple easier, especially if you're a lower level team, we'll just say A and below, right? If you're A and below, your goal for the last 10 years is go get 2 wins and then play with house money. That's just at least the general consensus of it. It's just harder to do that now when there's 32 conference teams because anybody can beat anybody. There are no more, I don't want to say free games. We'll just call them easier games, which is still not the right word. But there are no more, hey, we're gonna beat these guys, and then then we're gonna go play another A team, and maybe we go 3-2 this week, and maybe there's not a lot of that anymore. Now, with that being said, Chicago, Kansas City, there's more local teams in those tournaments, so that's a difference. But so a 1-2 finish, you're not happy about it. We're not settling for that. I'm not saying that, but we played one really, really great game, which showed what we can do when we don't be stupid and play well. Right. I think we had 40 runs on 12 home runs, and that was in the 5th inning.
That was we didn't have 40, but we lost. Hang on, the scores of the games, pretty high scoring games, first of all, and also right, our approach, we got to beat the teams that are in front of us, right? That's the way it is. And it's interesting though, you mentioned a lot about the parity and who's playing well, who's not playing well, how much that matters. I mean, like, I bet there's a lot of teams in the conference, not all of them, but a lot, that if you gave them 10 games against each other, there'd be a lot of 5-5, 6-4s. Do you know what I mean? Like the same teams, 2 teams playing 10 times. I'm not talking about your team versus a B team. I'm talking about like in the middle. Let's call it in A, TBD, and some of the AA. You're going to get a lot of parity there, and that it's very interesting. Even though the scores a lot of times can be very lopsided. Like you see a team that beats a team 40-10 and plays the same team 2 weeks later and loses 40-10. Like it's very situational. It's very weird how that happens to a certain degree. And I'll point out a couple things that I thought I had to watch on the live stream, which by the way sucks. Like meaning like I like obviously watching the live stream, but not being there sucks. Right. Very, very, very frustrating. Way more frustrating than being there, if that makes sense. Like when you can't do anything and you're far away,
can't yell at anybody.
Can't yell at anybody. Yelling at the theater screen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? My house.
Anybody in the shin or anything when you get really
can't do anything. I got nothing. What I noticed was again, and we've talked about this with the guys, not a secret. couple things that we need to work on. One would be how we react and what we do after big innings against us, because that happens. And it's human nature to be frustrated. I mean, no one comes in and be like, great inning, guys, we gave up 25. But it was how we react to that moving forward and, slicing back into games, in that case. And the other one is, and again, I don't know why, and this isn't like our team specific, this is kind of in general, it's more of a general statement, but it seems to happen to us, is that you get those contagious outs sometimes, and it's no individual. It's just like sometimes, okay, out one, and then we go 1, 2, 3. Do you know what I mean? And that happens. Those are things we need to cut down on. But breaking the games down, let's go game by game here. First one was, go ahead.
We played Epic.
Yep, 31. And I got it right in front of me. 31-23 game. From my view, very back and forth game.
We cut it to 2, the top of the 6th, I want to believe, maybe the 5th. And we came in. That was our chance to maybe change momentum in that game, and we came in through an egg. So
1, 2, 3. Yep. So what's your take? So Epic was a game. We played them now twice in Texas in the last game, and this in the first game. Close-ish game. They had the hammer though. So
huge.
Yeah, they had the hammer. What's your kind of take on that one? So, I mean, like from a macro perspective.
Looking over the Epic, that is a team that we wanted to play our best game against to see where we're at. Dirty pitched phenomenal. If Dirty pitches like that against us, they will win a lot of games.
Hey, you're breaking up on me, Matt. I think you froze or something.
Sorry. Better?
Yeah. I think you're better now. Go ahead. Go back to what you're saying.
That game, we wanted to play Epic to see where we were. They beat the shit out of us in Texas. So we were like, hey, why not play again? Maybe we at least want to give them a better effort. You know what I mean? We weren't satisfied with our play. Okay. We came out. We were a little flat in the first kind of thing. But Dirty pitched great.
He did.
Dirty. He pitched vintage Dirty, took advantage of all things, and it just pitched great. And he hit great too. So, I mean, with that being said, when the other team's pitcher's at his best, it's always hard, right? Not saying you can't beat him, whatever, but doesn't help our cause, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. So you go to that game. We have a lot of hard outs. Shortstop made 3 or 4 line drive catches. Middleman picked a couple. They're both good ball players. We also had a couple misses, which is going to happen in a softball game. I mean, like you said, it was a closer game than the score because I think either the bottom of the 5th, I think we held them to a 0 to cut the lead to 2 in the top of the 6th. If we come in and get 10 there or 6 there,
I think there was a big double play there. They hit it up the middle. There was a big double play that was we had like a step on a base throw to first, I think, in that one.
Sure. Yep. So that was our time to take the chance right there. If we go in there and change the way the game flow, hit 2 or 3 home. We left 4 on the table.
Yeah.
And we could have hit solos probably anytime we wanted to, but we knew we were always chasing. So you just don't want to go up there and blow them up. We're trying to win that game, right? We could have hit 3 or 4 solos and made that a 2-run game.
Right. Okay?
It doesn't matter. We still get the L kind of thing like that. That was, hey, let's be smart, do this right. So in the 6th and 7th, we can hit a couple 2-runners if we need to, you know what I mean, like that, to try to push us over the top. And the 6th inning, we came in and didn't do it.
Yeah.
Didn't do it. If we get 5 or 6 there, even if we get 6 on 3 there, just say we get 6 on 3, right. The first time in the game they're chasing, which I don't know how they're going to come back from. They were whacking the piss out of it.
No, actually, I mean, at one point we were up. We scored about 10 runs in the 2nd inning in that game. But anyway, I'm saying late in the game. Yeah.
But we weren't. I mean, they answered that inning with right back at it. Like I said, on the top of the inning, when you score 10 in the top of the inning and you don't go out and hold the other team, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
The score was like a 2-run difference, so it doesn't really matter what right. But that 6th inning was the difference maker where we didn't do what we needed to do, and that's on us. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, made us miss, made the plays. We didn't. They came in, got their 6 or 7, whatever. We went to the 7th, tried to catch, maybe free swung a little more, and we ended up 8 runs short or whatever the number we lost by was.
Right, and then go ahead.
You're not really. You're mad you lost because you think you could have done better in some situations. But looking back 2 days later, you're like, man, we played pretty good. 1 or 2 bounces here, 1 better swing here, and that's a whole different game. So you're not like.
Yeah, the problem is just the pretty good's not going to be good in it. You know what I mean? Like it's just not good enough. It's not going to happen. Like you're not going to kind of to your point earlier when you play some local teams or some other teams like that, pretty good is usually going to be pretty good, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now it's not, because there's just not teams that you just don't know. I mean, then though, the quick turnaround, the 8 a.m. game, do not want to get us at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. We're built for 8 a.m. We're built for 7. We're built for 8 a.m. Cornerstone. This game, the final score, they almost actually avoided the run rule towards the end, but they did not make it. 35-20 was the final score in that game. But it was a full-blown Siteman track meet in this one. What was your take on that game?
We did everything that you're supposed to do correctly. We hit. I think we hit one solo, and it was on or one or two solos, and they were both. One of them was a front foot half swing that I don't know how it got out of here, and the other one was a 12-foot high line drive over the right center gap fence. So, but we hit a bunch of 3-run home runs. We swung at good pitches. We made the defensive plays. We hit back. It was base hit, double bomb, base hit, double bomb, walk, hit, bomb. You know what I mean? Everybody contributed. Everybody played good. We pitched great. Everything was great. That's just like I said, 35 on 12, and the fourth was a fifth inning.
Right.
You beat a lot of teams, right? You know what I mean? So we just played great. Everybody did exactly what we supposed to. We were at BP at 6 o'clock, right by there. We hit.
Right.
Everybody warmed up, walked to the field, took care of business. 10 minutes later, it's like we got hit by a hurricane or a.
Oh God! Just lost you again. Hang on, your audio got all messed up there.
Better.
Yeah, what happened there?
So after we win that game, we started the next game 10 minutes later, and all of a sudden we couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't get it. And I watched it actually happen. I mean, because, it almost, I know it sounds like a strange thing to say. It almost doesn't matter who your opponent is, right? Because it's really, in all these cases, it's you versus you, right? Yep. But it's frustrating because, just for people that don't know, go out, kind of whoop Cornerstone's butt, let's just be honest, 20. And then LSR turns us around and whips our butt badly in that next game, 37-12, okay? You would think these games are 8 hours apart. They're not. They're 10 minutes, okay? And you're getting a team that, meaning the advantage there, if you're looking on in every, was us going into that game against LSR. You just took some BP, literally and figuratively, meaning against a team, too. I say that teams do that against us as well. They did it against us in this game, right? You cranked a team. You scored 35 runs in a short game. You got a team coming now in cold, I believe, at that point, because they had played and had lost in a later game. So that they're coming in now, first game, 9:30, right? Everything points to us, and LSR gives you this. LSR says, here you go. You want this? Double middle fingers, and they just absolutely beat our ass. What's the analysis there? Because that one's a frustrating that we need to have, and we just didn't.
That's the game you obviously can't have happen. I mean, you're going to lose softball games if you play long enough. You don't ever like it, but you don't want to lose like that, right? Okay, so like you said, we come out flat. Our mindset is fine. We're fine. We even make a good throw in the top of the first to cut their inning to 2 runs. We're like, okay, 2-3-0 in the first inning. Let's go right back on it. And then we still can't get it. And then they had an inning of death.
The inning of death.
Which, say what you want about the human body and nature. When you give up 25 runs and nothing's going right, and LSR hit it. I mean, we might have missed a ground ball here or there, like a hard play, but it wasn't like we booted 15 or threw them away. They had the shit out of it. Gap, bomb. Single, bomb. Walk, bomb. I mean, you know what I mean? They hit the shit out of it. So you're just demoralized. You're aggravated. You're dead. You're looking for reasons why, and we kind of just quit. Facts of the matter. We gave up.
and we've said that cannot happen. That cannot happen. Like, I don't care. They score 80 runs. 80 runs would be bad. But you watch the nature of softball. Like we talked about this early on. Is like, do I say that we come back and win that game? That's not what I'm saying. Not saying that. I mean, you could. It's happened before, right? But how many times have you seen it? And this is teams we've played too. We played too, where we come up and score like a 30-run inning or something, and they come back and they don't do they score 14. Do you know what I mean? Or like, they get back into it one way or another, and that's just something we need to be mentally tough on, because you watch that happen, and at this level, you gotta be able to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? It's not fun. No one's gonna be like, yay, yippee. You just gotta almost, I don't know, mentally trick yourself, body language, whatever you need to do, mother F yourself. I don't care what it is, to try to go back in there and do something, because How many times have you seen that in games we're watching where it's like, oh my God, that team came back, or they almost came back and cut it to 1 or something, you know?
That being said, that is very hard to do.
I didn't say it was easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it every time. Someone scored 25, you come in, you score 25. Okay,
we had quite a bit of home runs left to come back in that game. If we would have got 35 on 12,
yep,
we're in that game. Now, with that being said, I agree 100% with everything you just said. I agree. Write it down, sign it on paper. There are 6 to 8 teams in the conference that do that regularly that have no problem.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, it's not. And I'm just saying that you got to learn from it.
Got the rest of them. You're like, they do this exact same thing. So you're aggravated at that game. You're more the reason I'm not even the list of aggravation things for me is why do we play crap in the first 2 innings? Why did we let it get to where the 25 run inning?
Right.
Quitting at 25 running. Do those 2 things in front of it. You don't have to ever fight this.
Yeah, right. It led to right. I mean, yeah. Right. If you're up 17 and they just have a 25-run inning, you're down 8.
Right. So I mean, like you said, no one's happy about it. We had a talk. Yeah. After. People talked. I talked. Like, people know it can't happen. It is what it is. Like, you don't want to. The problem with this is it happened to us in Texas also.
Yeah.
So now it's 2 times. There will not be a third where this happens.
No.
So I'm not saying we're not going to lose. We might get blown out, but we're not going to quit. I promise you that. I'll go out there if I have to.
I mean, the thing is, and, bottom line, though, we'll look ahead to Chicago. We'll talk about the bat, then we'll talk about Chicago. But look, to wrap up Tennessee, if you will, bottom line here, you walk out of there with 176 points, which is not the worst thing in the history of the world. I mean, with that, meaning that'll probably be a score we use at the end. We'll have more than 7 tournaments, but that 176 is going to be a score we use based on some of our other scores. And so you kind of escape there. Like almost like you held maybe a bogey or maybe almost par, got out of there almost unscathed. Do you know what I mean? Chicago, it cannot happen there. You know what I mean? Chicago, we got to go.
A lot of good teams went 1 and 2.
Yeah, a lot of good teams went 1 and 2. JBL went 1 and 2.
They beat the shit out.
Monster went 2 and 2. There was a lot of good teams that did, and by the way, a lot of solid teams that went 0 and 2 in that tournament, right? So
32 conference teams. Somebody's got to lose.
Someone's gonna have a rough one. So that's where you get out of it. Do you have any final thoughts on Tennessee? Then we'll talk bat. Then we'll kind of do a little preview of Chicago.
We did a lot of good things. Still doing some of the things bad. If we figure out how to minimize the bad things, if we can keep doing the good things and erase a couple of the bad things every next couple tournaments, we're gonna be there at the end.
Right, and that's
those things. We're gonna blow up.
Right, and that's that consistency factor, right? You look at the 3 games. If you were to put a word next to each game, you'd say epic loss, okay. You say cornerstone, great, and you'd say LSR, terrible. Do you know what I mean? Meaning our performance in those 3 games,
unacceptable.
Unacceptable, bad. And that's where you look at it. So we will have a different approach here coming into Chicago. And this is a big opportunity way up in the standings in Chicago. And we'll talk about that in a second. But let's talk about the bat for a second, because got some more knowledge I want to drop on that. We're talking about, of course, the Siteman Pure Bat. And Matt, I'm going to go through my quick points here, okay, on this, because I want everyone to pay attention to this, because pre-sales for this bat that are going to be very limited, okay, are going to be going on sale this Friday. What's that? June 2nd at 10 a.m. Eastern, which is 9 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. early bird for you Pacific folks. Now, here's what you need to know about this. Number one, I'm going to come on and do a live stream right before we go to Chicago. Matt's coming to get me. I'm going to do a live stream. I'm going to hop on here 15 minutes before we go live, doing a little bit of live stream. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be talking about it. But I can tell you right now, very limited bats available in this. I'm going to give you a couple pieces of very cool information about this. I will have a promo code for you, so keep an eye out for that. Fun fact, the promo code is going to be, shocker, Siteman, okay? You're going to know about that soon. We'll talk about that. Going to give you a giant discount off everything. There's going to be a 12-inch, 13-inch, 12-inch USSSA, 13-inch USSSA, 13-inch ASA, okay? Now, here's the other things you need to know. Number one, those are going to be limited pre-orders on Friday. You order one, it's going to be shipping about, give or take, and again, you got to, it's Bat World. Bat World, okay? Give or take about 7-Eleven is when they're planning on getting them in to Pure and then getting them out from there. So 7-Eleven. But I got a cool thing for you guys on this one. Just online pre-orders. Got a limited edition. Guess what we got for you? Boom. We got an all-navy Siteman Pure hat for you that you'll get with your order free. And it will be a fitted hat, Matt. So meaning once you order on the order form or order form, whatever it is, you get to choose your size. Do you have a giant head like me? You need a large XL, or you need a small medium, a schmedium. Whatever it is, we got it there just for the pre-order. So it will be this navy hat with the pink, and it'll have Siteman on the back. It's pretty cool. Just wanted to, do that as something cool, just to guys for the ones that jump on the band early with the bat. So again, that is going to be Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Limited pre-sales, and I'm telling you, when I'm on that live stream, they will sell out. And that's not going to be like marketing hype or whatever it might be on Friday. So if you want to jump on one, last thing I want to give, and then Matt, if you want to add anything, okay, this is very important.
Yep.
There's going to be some posts I'm going to have on my social media. So Facebook.com/David Garland, Instagram, David Siteman Garland. The link, though, there's going to be a specific link. It's going to be puresportstech.com/Siteman. If you go there, you get a lovely photo of our old team from last year, right? And some other random links on that page. But it's going to be puresportstech.com/Siteman. And the promo code to get you a ginormous discount will be Siteman as well. That will be the page. So make sure to mark that down. Go ahead, Matt.
What's the end price after the code? Just roughly guess.
It's going to be, for the U-Trip model, will be $225.
$225, okay.
Which is crazy. And I want to say the ASA is around like $250-ish, because that's a little bit, those bats are just more expensive the way it is.
Yep.
Somewhere around there. You have to put in the code and see. But our goal is to one, we want to maximize how many people can have this bat, because if you do that, we're maximizing how much money we can send to the Siteman Cancer Center.
Yep.
And on top of that, we also want to give you guys the best deal. So that's how we had to work. It was like pull to get the right deal, where it's like, how can we give you guys the lowest price humanly possible? How can we maximize donations, and how can we do the best bat? And I think we knocked out of the park with this. So, someone's saying that they didn't see me at the Epic Siteman game because I was in St. Louis, by the way. I could not make it. It was my wife's birthday. And also we had a wedding this weekend, but I will be in Chicago this weekend. So, Matt, very exciting. I'll have a live stream going on Friday. There'll be more posts coming about this. I want to add on that. There'll be more information coming soon as well, for sure.
If you don't get one of those, what's the number of pre-orders? Do we know?
We cannot divulge that information.
Okay. We'll just say under 1,000.
Yes. They will go.
And
they will, and they are going to go. And go ahead.
Don't panic if you don't get one of those, because I'm going to have some bats that I can sell. They're not going to be, they'll be shipped to us when everybody's shipped. I'll have them. So for the local guys, if you miss out on it, don't panic. We can still get you one in that first shipment there before you have to go.
Yeah, there'll be a 7-Eleven shipment, if you will, have in-hand bats after that, and we'll also have another limited amount online right at that point. But if you want to be the first and you don't want to miss out, this is the time.
Right. With that being said, I have 25 of the number of bats that I'm getting already sold. I haven't collected money on them. They haven't paid me for them, but I'm just letting you know. So, reach out if you want one. I mean, I know people have done that and everything, and I have a big list, but I'm not going to be able to find everybody. We're getting to the point now. I can set when I get them. I can set some to the side, your weights up like that, kind of thing like that. So just reach out to me here. You can ask questions, whatever you want. I don't have them yet. I'm not collecting money. That's what the pre-order is for. If you want to do that, get your spot in. That's great. I'll just
get yourself a hat.
Get a hat. Cool. I mean, everybody's always commented on our hats. This is the one we'll wear it with our Navy uniform when we play. Exact same hat. We try to hit all things. So meaning like online, in person. I know we know people like to buy bats in different ways, right? Like you might just be an online click go. You might want to meet Matt and do it that way. That's fine. That will be later on, right? Like in July. So that's it. puresportstech.com/Siteman on Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, 7 a.m.
Pacific, and I'll be live streaming. There'll be a lot more about that. So very exciting, very cool, very pumped for it. And we're gonna go from there. And the boys will be getting theirs. Actually, should be this weekend. A lot of them in Chicago. Won't be. We'll have them. Do you know what I mean? That we're working on that. So
you get that figured out? Did we?
Got that figured out. Got that figured out. We'll figure that out.
Granted, everything goes as we were told, and there's no problems. We should have ours for the guys in Chicago. Am I hearing that correct?
Most of them.
Yeah, right. Just a couple, like the AS. Okay, right. So we'll have. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's exciting stuff. So let's shift gears. Let's talk Chicago here just for a few minutes. We're not gonna. So Chicago tournament, the Windy City Major. Now, because of Nashville, that definitely affected Chicago this year, right? Because Chicago's smaller. That's not a bad thing. Right. Chicago, we've got 19 teams in Chicago, Carroll Stream. One nice thing about 19 teams, Matt, is you don't have to use the crappy other park.
That's nice. Yep.
Beautiful. Because we were on that one against Chiefs Hughes last year. You want to talk about an atmosphere. I mean, I think there was like one deer watching the game in the woods. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a little rough. Chicago itself, great atmosphere there. And that's going to be a good one. We got 19 teams. Yep. We'll be taking on West Point Friday night at 6:30 p.m. I believe Field 4. I'll double check that one, but we are West Point, 6:30 p.m. Friday night. We will be at. That is good. Brent will be back. I will be back. We'll have our full strength of our squad there. The winner of that game is going to take on Competitive Edge, most likely. Again, Competitive Edge will have a play-in winner. I don't know if Farhad's pitching or whatever he's doing there, but likely scenario is Competitive Edge, and that's going to be a 9:30 game. So it's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on there on Field 4. You're going to have the play-in game is at 5 on Field 4, then us at 6:30, then Competitive Edge, the winner of the play-in game at 8, and then the winner of us versus West Point at 9:30, okay? And then we go from there. I got to tell you, though, you look at the conference standings. It is a giant cluster F, right? It is a giant cluster F. It's not like, hey, this team's 7,000 points ahead, this team's 7,000 points behind. It's not like that. No matter what, we're moving up in the standings this weekend in Chicago. Okay, the question is, if we could put together a very nice weekend, how high can we go with this? And I think this is really going to dictate a lot of the rest of the year for us. This is a pivotal tournament.
I would love to say we're going to, and trust me, we are going to try. There will be no taking the week easy. 2 people in the group chat already said on my drive home, they've already hit BP twice since Saturday. Everybody else better be effing.
Yeah.
So I'm just letting you know.
That's all you need to know.
Our group chat vibe, we are not settled. We are not happy with ourselves.
Yep.
With Nashville. And we are coming to hopefully give us our best games in Chicago. Everybody's going to try. Everybody's going to put in their work this week. I mean, from a coaching and a manager's perspective, only other thing we can do, we can ask for more, is to execute.
Yeah, right? It's about stringing the consistency together, right? I mean, that's what it is. And when we do that, we will be scary because we could show what we've done in glimpses of it. Do you know what I mean? We've shown what we can do in glimpses. Can we put now a nice full tournament, start to finish in Chicago? Right. Listen, I'd love to look at my crystal ball and say for sure, but we don't know. But that's going to be the goal, and we will be ready and prepared and ready to go in Chicago. Matt, do you have any other thoughts on that? Obviously, a familiar playing ground for us. We played there several times. But any thoughts going to that tournament other than we know what we need to do and we're all ready to do it?
It's more of a we need to do, not that we're going to try. We need to.
Yeah.
Right? We need to. Like this is a lot of people's mid-season pivotal moments, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you don't want to hit the panic button. Panic button's still in the distance. Don't get me wrong, but it's there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if we had a great, just say first 5 tournaments, the panic button's not visible. Right. You're like, okay, you have a bad one. You chalk it up as bad, but the panic button, we can see it. We're not reaching towards it yet or whatever, but we have to play better. Everybody knows it. People watching us know it. They're like, they even ask, why are we not playing better? I would love to tell you.
Yep.
I don't.
But this will really shape up.
Yep.
What happens the rest of the year? Like this is like a kind of a crossroads, right, of what happens. And, and that's it. And, I'd say, I hate putting pressure, but guess what? There is pressure. That's the way it is. And you need to respond to pressure. That's the way it is. Do you know what I mean? Welcome to sports. But I got to tell you, though, I am looking forward to it personally because
it'll be fun.
Oh, we're going to have fun. We're going to have our vibes going. We're going to have cowboy hats. We're going to have, I'll make sure we get a photo of it. Our new boxing robe, our new boxing wrestling robe. I've seen it. I've seen it. But we'll get that going. Hope to wear it a few times. Right. But I am very excited because, again, I did not like watching from home and being powerless away from it. So it'll be very nice to be back with the guys. Miss everyone. It's going to be a fun time. So counting down the days till Chicago, we'll be ready to go. And that is really where we're at. I mean, there's a lot going on. That's why we had this episode today. We wanted to cover Nash, a.k.a. Cooksville, Nashville. Obviously, the bat on Friday in Chicago. Matt, do you have any, as we wrap up here in the next minute or so, do you have any final comments?
I have a couple shout-outs. I want to thank all the women that came with our team this weekend. They had a great time. They deal with BP and getting us drinks and all of our aggravated attitudes after we leave. After we lose, they, obviously we yell and aggravate it and we take it. They all did great. Aaron, of course, traveling, does everything great. We hit that curveball you tripped through at us right out of the park. Got us great hotel, great location, great everything. I want to always thank Pure. They do great for us. You know what I mean? Hats, shirts, whatever they want to do. Their bats are phenomenal. And for our Siteman bat, that's a really cool thing for the guys that don't have their names on their own bat and everything, for the non-major players and those guys. Having our name on this bat, that's really cool. If you can think I'm stupid for saying that, whatever you want, I think it's really cool.
I agree. Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely crazy.
Right. I want to thank you for being our sponsor. You do things above and beyond that most people don't know or don't see. And whether no one really knows how good of a guy you are because they just check you in the sponsor category. But you weren't there. You didn't waver on expense when you weren't there. Everything. I just want to thank you for doing it because you could have said, we're not going to Nashville. I can't go. We'll pick something else. But we didn't. We did that. You know what I mean? So I want to thank you again. And all the other guys thanked you also this weekend. And they represented you well. I have not one thing to say about anybody's reputation of our team whatsoever. I haven't had anything to say about that the whole year. But I just want you to know, when you're not there, we act the same as if you are there.
For sure. Well, I appreciate you, Matt, and I appreciate all your, your efforts running it. A lot of, it's herding cats. You have a lot of cats behind you. You have a lot of cats in your apartment, but I got to tell you, there's about 14, 15 cats with Siteman softball. You got to herd. So right. I appreciate that as always. And all right, my friends, we will see you next time. This has been the Siteman Softball Podcast, episode number 85. Yes, Matt, climb in.
You're in Chicago and you want to see the bat, so if we have them, come up and look at it. Ask
pending shipping, pending any disasters, we'll have them there, and I will see you online for the pre-sales.
The local teams, come find us, look at it, try it out. We'll see what we can do.
Darn right. All right, my friends, we will see you. I will see you, softball community in Chicago. Looking forward to seeing everyone there, Siteman and otherwise.
Wednesday, Thursday, BP.
I'm ready to go. Wednesday and Thursday, BP. All right. See you guys.